Good morning, welcome to 59 Minutes. My name is Levi Konas. Today we are going to be having a discussion with celebrated author, award-winning, young, but has written so many things. Her name is Kendi Karimi. We're going to talk about her journey to being an author, how you can become one and follow in her footsteps, and see what projects that she's doing. Hi, Kendi.
Hello, hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here.
Yes, I'm very honored.
You're very young and very accomplished. They said you even have a first-class honors in mass communication.
Yes.
Yes. So me?
Well, siku msomi, believe it or not, I didn't necessarily love books. The educational kind of books, kina physics, biology, nini. But I used to at least get decent grades without necessarily having to study too much.
The first class honors, still decent, you need you.
Well, thank you.
Decent ni C plus,
decent
na
ni
B
C plus.
minus, na B.
Well, maybe there wasn't competition, to say me.
Yeah.
Enough competition.
Tell me about your journey towards this whole thing of writing.
Yeah.
At what point did you know I can write something? Were
So,
you always that person?
So when I started writing when I was in high school, I used to write in, you see this A4 books.
Yeah.
So since you can't carry a laptop in high school, so I used to buy A4 books with my pocket money.
Yeah.
And then I would write like stories in the books. And then when I finished the stories, a friend of mine, her name is Bracy, she borrowed the book, she read it, she loved it, she passed it on to someone else passed it on someone else. So by the time I realized it, the book that short story that I had written had gone from my class to another stream. And someone is like, when I'm walking down, like going to the dining hall or something, someone is like, oh, I read your book. Do you have another one? And I was like, oh, okay, I can write another one. So that is what inspired me. I don't even have the books right. They got lost.
Yeah, but do you remember what it was about though?
Mambo tu za romance. I think it was mostly about vampires.
Meals and boons.
Yes.
Passions na manini.
Passion. You know high school mentality, and you know what high school people
imagine. You know, I read a lot of books in high school myself.
Yes, and no one wants to read the set book kind of books. So set book utasoma to pass school.
Yes.
But utakuja kwa Kendi Karimi to read something a bit more.
Yeah, with some vavavoom.
Yes, with some vavavoom. Yeah, so that experience really encouraged me to take writing seriously in university.
Ah.
Yeah.
So now you finish, you go to university. If I may ask, where were you schooling, by the way?
So I began at Daystar University, and then I cleared at KAG East University.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went solely to do mass communication?
Yes.
What was in the mind at that moment in time? You're targeting what?
In the mind, I wanted to become like you, an anchor.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was the goal, that was the aim. I really loved just being like this, interviews and being on TV or being on the radio. Just, it is, I love it. I love everything about anchoring and entertainment, being in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Yes, I was very, very passionate about it. So it was a no-brainer for me, nikienda university, mass communication. From there, get a job at a media station, a media house, and you know, I had it all planned out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
You
know, I like
character development by life.
Character development happened.
Character
How
development
did it happen?
happened.
Tell me.
Because you know, when you clear.
Yeah.
When you're in uni, you know, and then you think, oh, I'll just clear school, go
You've
apply
got a nice
here,
plan.
and you have it all figured out.
We all did.
And then you clear university.
Yeah.
And then now you start looking for the job. So for me, when I was still in uni, I got an internship at a radio station at Homeboys. And after that, they decided to keep me on. So I continued working there, but I wasn't really working like what I wanted to do, the presenting. So what I was doing was...
It must have been exciting though in the beginning to be just called.
Too exciting. I was even like, oh my God, you're going to consider me? What? As an intern? Thank you. You know, I didn't even like want to be paid. I was just so happy to be. I was so happy to be there. So when they decided to keep me on, I was like, this is great. This is wonderful. I moved to Hurlingham. I started working from there, commuting, going to school, whatnot. And then after I cleared university, I stayed on there for a little bit, doing social media work, so marketing. But then it started to become a bit financially unreasonable for me to continue staying there. So it broke my heart to leave, but then it just reached a point where I just had to make the decision to, yes.
Yeah.
So I just left with a broken heart, homeboys, but I left.
So then what happened?
And then from there now I started the proper job hunting. You know, I was like, you know, I have, if Homeboys is in my CV, I mean, you know, Nikienda,
doors can open. Yeah.
Doors will open.
By the way, at this point in time, are you still writing? Have you paused writing?
Okay, so at this point, at that point in time, I had only written one book, which I am still editing, actually. It's called Seduced by a Virgin. I started writing it when I was in university. But I hadn't published anything as of yet. So I published my first book, The Cages We Built, the poetry collection, when COVID hit. When COVID hit, that's when I decided, you know what, because I was jobless, right? I was jobless, I was at home. So I was like, okay, I love to write. Well, maybe I can try and
do this.
And do this,
yeah.
you know, and make something out of this.
But take me back to the Homeboy story, because after that, now you're out, you have got no job, you've basically no means of, you know, doing something as far as the career is concerned. Then what?
So from there,
and you have an unfinished book.
Yes. So from there, I had to move back home. I moved back to my parents' house, and I stayed with them for about a year.
Yeah.
And then I got another job, still marketing and social media work, at a fashion company. It's called Vivo. And I worked there for maybe 1.5 years. And I was like, nah, again, just like, I can't. Like, I think in the back of my mind, I just always knew what I wanted. I wanted to write, but then accepting that decision, because whoever you talk to will tell you writing is a hard career. Yeah,
has no money.
It has no money. Yeah. Like you won't necessarily be encouraged to become a writer. So quitting job to become a writer, it's just, it was tricky. Yeah. But I just reached a point where I was like, I have to do it, because the work was so demanding that I didn't have time to even sit down and say, after work, I'll be writing at night before I sleep or something. Like, at night, I'll carry my work home with me and I continue working. So there wasn't really any time to write. So I just quit the job. I moved back again with my parents. So my mom is like,
reset button.
Sasa huyu mtoto anataka aje. Like, what does she actually want?
You keep flying out and flying back in.
I fly out, I fly back in, I fly out, I fly back in. But she's always been supportive, you know, so she was like, okay, sawa, mimi sijai kufukuza kwa nyumba yangu, so you just come and tell me what you want. And I told her, I want to sit and I want to write. She said, okay. So I moved back. And when Corona hit, now that's when I really had all the reason to just stay in the house and just concentrate and just write. Because you know that time...
That's excellent. You know, some people misuse that time.
Yeah, a lot. Sleeping and... Nah. So me, I just decided now, if not now, when? I have been given the perfect opportunity where people are being told, in fact, usiende job, work from home. So ukienda kwa duka, it's rare for you to find anyone on the road.
And then you didn't go for what was the unfinished book. Why? One would think, with Corona,
that
the first thing you'd say is, let me finish this one.
Yeah.
But here you are, you jumped on a new project.
Yes. Unajua, every book usually has its own mental space. I wasn't in the mental space to write That Seduced by a Virgin. I read it, I read what I had written, and I tried to write it, but haikuwa inakuja, it wasn't coming.
Ile writer's block.
Yes, so me I decided I will not force it. It will come at its own time. I won't force it. Let me write what is pressuring me. And that time I was really, really inspired to write poetry. It was a lot. It was a lot. So I decided, let me just write poetry instead. So I wrote this, I edited it, I published it, and
This is the one you call, let's see, it's called The Cages We Built.
Yes.
You wrote this in 2020.
Yes. I wrote it in 2020. It was my very first collection, speaking about the cages we have built around people speaking up on mental health issues.
A good-sized book,
Yes, and the cages we've built around love. Like, for example, people being able to come out of toxic love situations because, oh, I've never been loved like this, or and if it's toxic, just come out. So it talks about a lot of cages that we have built mentally and emotionally on how we approach life.
Well, I tell you, it's quite a, you can tell it's somebody just pouring out stuff.
Yes.
Did you worry? You know, there's writing, and a lot of writers, people I meet all the time tell me, oh, I want to write. But then they are blocked by the constant thought of how much will it cost, you know? And then after how much will it cost, and we have the book, who will buy it? Did you get that kind of feeling? Did you ever feel?
No, not really. You know, I mean, I want to write the book. I feel like I have to write the book. Either way, I'm going to write the book now or later. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose in life. So there's no need of postponing. There's no need of worrying about the what if, you know. Ninifanye, and then we will deal with what comes later. But for now, if I feel like that is what I have to do, that is what I will do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did it?
So I did it.
And you published?
And I published.
Did you launch it?
Yes, I had a book launch in Kitengela. I invited just a few friends and family members.
Yeah.
And I printed like 50 books only. I don't know, maybe I think at that point is when I was like, if I print 100, zitaenda wapi zozote, you know.
Nothing
so
as bad as traveling around with books that are,
all
you know,
of those books.
Yeah.
So I just printed 50, na zikauza zote. And I was like, so I could have printed 100, na zingeenda, you know. So that was a lesson. So after that 50, now that's when I did 1,000 books. Yes.
And then
it inspired confidence.
Yeah. So you started getting them
more.
out there.
Yeah.
Something happened when you put this book on Amazon. Tell me about that.
Yes. So I published the book, say I publish it today, and then in about like maybe 24 to 48 hours, when I logged back in on Amazon, I saw that it was trending at number 4. And so it was trending at it was a number 4 bestseller on Amazon. So I was shocked. Very shocked, because I wasn't anticipating anything like that to happen. Since it was my first book, no one knew I write poetry. No, it was just completely shocking. Yeah.
And people were buying it. And
people were buying it on Amazon. And surprisingly, not even Kenyans. Kenyans were not my main market.
Oh, yeah, Amazon is not... Amazon, the guys who are buying there are not like... mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
Very few Kenyans would buy. Many of our Kenyans, they like hard copy.
They like hard copy.
Yeah.
So, nikaona, okay. So now, after that experience now of the first book doing so well, I decided every single book that I publish, it will go first on Amazon. Alafu sasa huku kwingine
so you started thinking internationally.
I started thinking international. Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, some of these things are very good for our own self-esteem.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It at least gives you some confidence yenye maybe haukuwa nayo to pursue a project that you want but una doubt. So you're like, okay, if this happened, then maybe this can happen. Let me just do it. Let me just continue. Yeah.
So that's book 1. Then what happened?
Then from there, so after that experience, again, I got a lot of motivation. I was like, yes, you know, I can do this. I can become a writer, you know. These people who are saying, oh, writing is no, let me show them now, you know. Like, wacha niwaonyeshe.
Wacha nirudi kwa factory.
Wacha sasa nirudi kwa factory. So from there, I wrote 5 more poetry books, and I posted them on Amazon as well.
5 more?
Yes, 5. I had a lot of inspiration during that Corona period. I don't know why, and I don't know how, and I don't know where it came from.
Wow. Do you know how long guys take to write one book? I met a guy yesterday who has been writing this one book for 8 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, get it out, get it out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's quite he was an athlete, actually.
Or maybe he's afraid of
he was an athlete, actually, in the big leagues. He was in the Olympics, and and he wants to write about his experience. I'm like, people will read that.
Yeah.
He's like, sure, I'm not so what, he's still in that.
That's what kills people, honestly.
You know,
no, you just have to do it.
Second guessing himself so much.
You just have to do it. You just have to do it. Because it's already there. It's already there. You know you can die at any moment. And you don't want to die with the regret of, oh, I wish I published it. It would have been so nice. It would have... No. Just Get it out there. Consequence badai. Whether someone buys your book or not, are you proud of that book, of what you have done? When you read it, does it excite you? If yes, then who cares? You just continue dishing. One day, people will appreciate it. Hopefully when you're still alive. You know, some books are appreciated
posthumously.
After, yes.
Yeah.
After umeenda, like 50 later is when people are like, oh,
like, hey,
there used
guy.
to be this person, you know.
Yeah.
But you did something. You left it. Whether people talk about you when you're here or after, you've done something.
It's a footprint, a big one.
A big one. So you just have to do it.
Yeah. Because some guys, I say, the only footprint they leave is the picture we have of them on the obituaries.
Oh,
which is really sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're supposed to appear in that newspaper for something else, I think, first.
Yeah. Before they
put you there.
Yes, you have to have appeared.
You have to have appeared for something, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Make an impact in this world.
Yeah.
So 5 more books, how are they received?
Well, not as great as this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was ish-ish. But I still continued
you didn't get discouraged?
No, Mimi, I didn't get discouraged. Me, I know what I want. I want to continue writing. I love writing. It makes me, I really don't know how I can describe it. When I'm writing, I'm just so excited. You know, like that feeling that I get when I'm composing like a piece of poetry.
Yeah.
I can't stop. I can't stop because someone is not buying the book. I'm writing because of how I'm feeling, you know. So it's not going to stop. So I wrote those, so in total there were 6. And I was like, okay, cool. I've done poetry. And now I remembered the first book, Seduced by a Virgin, the one that I started Kitambo. And I was like, okay, poetry aside, let's now try fiction. Because it's about experimenting again. You never really know where your strongest suit is until you experiment and see what's what.
Yeah.
So I started now on fiction. So I wrote a collection of short stories. It's called Life in No Order. And those short stories actually are the ones which got me those little awards that you see there. Wakini Korea and African Writers Awards. Yes, so they're in that book called Life in No Order. I just wanted to see if I can be able to write a short story.
Okay.
So I did it, and I wrote so many that they were able to
Are they like
make a book.
different complete storylines, or do they have a general genre?
No, it's basically, you see how the book is called Life in No Order?
Yeah.
They basically talk
Are you
about
killing
life.
characters in your stories?
Characters must die. Characters must, I'm sorry, but characters must die. You know,
you're vicious.
People love blood.
Yeah.
People love blood. Look, Murdering Romance, can you see the cover?
I can see the cover. It's very...
It has blood. It has some, you know.
Oh my goodness, so you're killing people in the books?
You have to kill some people, you have to break some hearts, you know. Yeah, it excites.
Actually, if you think about it, if books shape movies, and movies, sometimes there are people who like those movies that, you know, have happy endings and blah, 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 blah. But every now and then you see another movie that doesn't have a happy ending and you're like, yeah, that's life. Sometimes it doesn't go that way.
It doesn't go that way.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, you've read Murdering Romance. Do you think it has a happy ending?
No, I don't think so.
No. So sometimes that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to prepare people for that. Yeah. Because, you know, people approach life with the mentality of it has to be rainbows and what. And if it's not rainbows and sunshine, suddenly it's bad. But it's not bad, it's part of life. So the sooner people and the easier, like the sooner people start accepting that life is just not all of that, when the bad comes, it's also part of life, then a book like this prepares them for things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. So you wrote these short stories, you put them out there, you won an award. You're what, sorry?
Nominated, shortlisted.
You're shortlisted.
Yeah.
But you know that's already like, you know, too many
Yeah.
of us are writing things and no one is shortlisting us for anything.
Yeah.
So that feeling that you're buoyed by this particular, you know, recognition that you have gotten, does that make you feel like then at that point in time that this is it, this is the only thing I should be doing in my life? Or do you feel like you're still balancing writing and other things?
No, I feel like I'm always just open to all opportunities. I won't say that even if I win, you know, the biggest award there is out there in writing, I won't settle into it and say, yeah, okay, fine, now this is me. If I find something else that excites me, I will still write, but concurrently, I will also do that other thing. Just whatever excites me is what I'm gonna do. Yeah. I won't limit myself and say this is the only thing that I will do or this is the only thing that I can do. If I find that I can do something else, then I'll do it. I'll try anyway. If I find that I'm not able to do it, well and good, I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about this murdering romance.
Well, Murdering Romance, it's a book about how the absence of a father in his daughter's life murders her romantic life. Yes, because often what happens with the girl child is that they look at how their father is, for example, treating their mother. That way they know the kind of person, the kind of partner that they can choose for themselves. So when there is that question mark, then you start filling in the gaps for yourself based on movies, which are inaccurate, based on other people's lives, you know. Like there's too many question marks that are there, and it ends up confusing you such that you find that the kind of men that you end up choosing, the kind of men that the romantic relations that you end up having are a bit questionable, right? And if you had at least a father figure to kind of look at and say, okay, this is the kind of man that I need in my life, then at least when it comes to choosing, you would have a direction. But because you don't have that direction, you're here, you're there. And most often, again, you end up choosing partners that are emotionally unavailable for you. Because there's that unavailability that was left by your father.
Yeah.
You know, so how Jewy. So when someone is emotionally unavailable, that's when they look attractive. That's when they're like, ah, wow, I want that one.
Yeah.
You know, that's
you know,
the
you
one
touched
I
on
want.
something with this book. Because I was on a train when I started reading it.
Okay.
And somebody took it away from me. I think I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
And they were reading it on the train.
Yeah.
And they actually said, I've got to finish this book, I've got to finish this book. And when we got off the train, they had like 10 pages remaining. And I had to wait for them.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
You had to stand there and just wait for them to
Yeah, I waited for
finish?
this lady to finish the last 10 pages. She said, just thank you so much. Let me just know what happened.
Wow.
And she was a young lady and she was resonating.
Okay.
And then my daughter was reading it, she was resonating. You know, the idea of love and what happens with young girls and love is not really something that people address as parents with their children. There are not too many parents even watching us.
Yeah.
Who would imagine that their child of 17, 16 is, you know, wondering about the opposite sex and address it. They would leave it to some teacher somewhere or some counselor or maybe a pastor or a church program to do that addressing for them, but they wouldn't want to do it. So books like yours step into that space and offer valuable insight on what's going on. And then offer the scope that it's not just about you and this person. There are other factors that are involved that cause this, you know, you to be drawn to the people that you're drawn to, which I think is very important even just for discussion.
Yeah.
But you said it's fiction, yet it's kind of not fiction.
Well, mix.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mix. I mean,
you drew from this.
I drew from my own experience.
Yeah.
Yes, because I have been brought up by a single mom. And in as much as I appreciate everything that she has done, there's only so much a mother can do.
Yes.
You know?
There's a void for both parents.
There's a void.
Yeah.
There's a void. So I reconnected with my father during COVID. The letters that you see there, most of them are real letters.
Wow.
Most of them are real emails. So we reconnected during COVID, and I drew from my experience of life to be able to write that book. So a good 75% of that book is real. About 25% is what is fiction. Yeah. Because you have to, lazima uongeze kachumbari, you know, you make it a bit more exciting, you know.
Spice the thing up.
Yes, you spice the thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am definitely writing from my own experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much do you feel that empowers you by doing that? Like, you wrote the book, you put it out there. Did you feel like, oh my goodness, I did too much? Were you,
Yes.
were you panicked in the beginning?
Absolutely. The people who follow me on my social media account know that I kept on teasing. I have a book. It's called Murdering Romance, but I'm not sure if I want to release it, you know? So I just kept on telling them, I'll release it, don't worry, I'll release it. There was so much of myself in that book and so much of my own history that I just wasn't sure if I wanted to show the world, to tell all of that to people, you know, because it's not just fiction, it's real life. So the judgment that people are going to have, it's going to be criticism on my actual life.
True.
You know, but I also decided that, I mean,
you know what, Kendi, there's too many people with too many books that aren't real books. The more we can have things like this where people are touching on real life situations, the better. They not only heal others, they heal you.
Yes, yes. It actually, because of the book, I was able to reconnect with my dad now. So right now we are in speaking terms.
Excellent.
You know, we speak at least maybe once.
It's a step.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
You know, it's a step. Emails, kidogo here and there. But it happened only because of that book. You know, if it wasn't for that book, we wouldn't be speaking. Yeah. Yeah. So he was leaving, he was going to the US, and when he was at the airport, he called me, but I didn't pick up. So when I called back, alikuwa shapanda ndege, akaenda. And then my mom calls me, she's like, oh, you know, John, he's also called John. John has called you, he's tried calling you, he just wanted to say hi. And I was so pissed because you have been in the country all this time.
Yeah. And
you have not looked for me, but last minute ndio unasema wacha nimpigie nisikie sauti yake. I was so pissed. So when I hung up, I just sat down with that anger and I wrote the book. It took about 3-4 days to write it. To edit took longer, but the main part of the book, because I was just so pissed.
Yeah, so you're angry writing on steroids, I tell you.
Angry writing. I was mad. I was mad. At some point, I was crying. You know, just asking yourself, like, just why? You know, like why?
Yeah, they should get the book. Where are your books available before we?
My books are available on Amazon. All of them are available on Amazon. And Nuria. There's this amazing bookstore. There's this amazing bookstore called Nuria. Nuria, the Honest Bookstore. And if you're in Kenya, that's where you're going to get them. Internationally, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for people who are in that space, who feel like they want to write, they have the manuscripts, they have the thoughts, they've got the process, they just don't have the kick
just
into getting into action?
Start, even if you start with a bad page, even if you start with a page that sounds cringe, you know, you read it and you cringe, just start, you know. You really just have to start, because when you start, that's when you'll get the motivation to continue. A page, a page, a page. Dedicate just a few, even if it's just 1 hour a day, just dedicate that 1 hour to writing. Go, no matter how bad you think it is, no matter how, just get it out. You will always edit later. There's this, I can't remember who said this, but there's a writer that said, you can't edit a blank page. Correct. You know? Yeah. So you have to start from somewhere. There has to be something for you to edit, you know? Yeah. So you just have to start. Basically, that's what I can say. Just start, no matter how bad you think it is, no matter how what, just start. Yeah. And then later on, when now with your manuscript, you can now begin to edit or go to someone and ask for like help in editing. Yeah. Yeah, but you can't ask for help when there is nothing to help with. Yeah, I like to say you don't have to see the whole staircase. You know, when you're climbing the stairs, you only see, if you're going to the 20th floor, the flight of stairs you see are these ones. Then you turn around, you see those ones. You don't see the 20th floor. Yeah. So there's too many people worrying about the cost of production and whether you'll make I mean, we'll get there. You'll get there. You see, people overthink these things.
Yeah.
They want to know how everything will go, how much this will be, how many. Just start with what you know. And then, ukishafanya what you know, when you're there, you'll go to the next part. You'll get the help that you need to go to the next part. Because even me, when I wanted to print my first book, I didn't know how. I didn't know anything. I DM'd a writer that I bought his book online.
Yeah.
So I went on
We
Instagram.
all did. Yeah.
I DM'd him. I told him, hi, I love the quality of your book. Do you mind telling me who printed it? And he was like, oh, yes, no, sure. He gave me the number of a printer. I asked about the printing cost, and that's it. And I printed my first book. Yeah. So just at least have the courage to approach people, even if they are strangers. Some might be rude, some might not. But just have the courage to approach people, to inquire. Don't feel like you will look stupid or any. Even if you look stupid, you're the one getting the information. You're the one benefiting.
And none of us was born doing these things.
Exactly. So it's all a learning process, you know.
Everybody learned something.
Yeah.
What's next for Kendi Karimi?
Well, currently, I am very close to finishing Seduced by a Virgin. The book has ended, so I'm editing it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a
Who are your readers you're targeting with that
very
one?
highly requested book.
Who are your readers? Who do you think your readers are for that particular title?
For that book?
Yeah.
Well, who is not?
Unataka kuingia kwa high school?
No. Definitely uni and maybe anyone who is between 18 and like 35. I don't know if that's a big
demographic. No.
Demographic, but 18 and 35.
Do you think we are reading, by the way, as a people? There's always this claims that we are not reading, you know, and then you've seen even, somebody writes even on Facebook, and a guy just comments there, and long posts. And page kamoja.
Maybe that's why Twitter is popular, because it's just short.
You know, so then you ask if these people are complaining about long posts.
What about a book?
Can they read a book?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, readers are there, but we can do better.
Yeah. We
can definitely do better, you know. So we just have to show people that reading can be fun, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading can be fun.
And it can still open your mind to imaginations and things.
Yes, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're finishing this book this year. That's what we are looking out for, yes?
Yes. Hopefully before my birthday, which is on February 9th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
And wish you all the best.
Asante sana.
Kendi Karimi, she says you can get her books at Nuria.
Yes.
There's Murdering Romance, there's The Cages we built.
Yes.
You're doing The Cages we broke.
Yes, so after Seduced by a Virgin,
yeah,
The Cages we broke.
And then you said you've got the poems?
Yes, so there's the other poem books.
Yeah.
There's All the Petals of the Universe 1, talks about just life, so things like racism and just issues like those, serious issues. It's political. I would say it's a political book. All the Petals of the Universe 2 primarily talks about emotions, so love and things like that. And then there's Knitting My Soul, pretty much what the title says. It's very soulful. It's a soulful book.
Yeah.
There's Liquid Love, again, about love. Mimi na mapenzi tuko hapa, you know. I used to write a lot about love when I did not have it. When I wanted it the most, that's when I used to write obsessively about love.
Yeah.
Alafu nikaipata, and I don't know when the inspiration went.
No, maybe it's the realization that, you know, it's not as maybe rosy as the imagination sometimes.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we over glamorize stuff, eh?
I definitely over glamorize.
Yeah. What's in the head? Wanasema kwa ground vitu ni different.
Kwa ground, kwa ground utashangaa sana.
Ni different sana.
Ni different sana.
Yeah. So you think and then you say, okay, maybe that's the thing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the thing, you know, that's a good reason why people need to read more, because then you realize when you read and you get stories like yourselves that truly depicts that kwa ground vitu ni different, which is the true depiction of life. Yeah? Then you can get better prepared to deal with the situations of life.
Yeah, that's what books do.
Yeah, without giving yourself, you know, this falsified, very,
Yeah.
you know, glorious imagination of how things will go.
Yeah, and they won't go like that. And then now when they don't go like that, you start experiencing like depression.
Yes.
You start getting frustrated with life.
Yeah.
You know, you start feeling angry. You know, and all of those emotions it's because your expectations were off.
True.
Yeah. So at least when you're exposed to the truth and you accept it, you understand that this is how things are, this is how life works, then you're better prepared to deal with the issues when they come.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you for chatting with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Get our books on Nuria Store. Are you on social media?
Yes, Kendi Karimi everywhere.
Kendi Karimi.
Yes,
all right.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, yeah.
Aye.
Yes.
Watakutafuta.
Tafadhali.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much
Wish
for
you the best
having
in
me.
2023.
You too.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be back.
You will be back.
Yeah.
The door is open. Come with a new book and let's talk about it.
Okay, no
That
worries.
title, though, we might have to talk about it at night. But anyway,
Yes,
let's talk about it.
It's for the night watchers. Watu wa usiku.
Usiku sako.
Usiku sako.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That's all we have for 59 minutes this morning. Stay tuned for Ilosu coming up and have a lovely day.